All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're breaking down a really critical update for anyone operating a PT6T-3 engine. We're talking about Transport Canada's Airworthiness Directive, CF-2025-66. Let's get straight to what you need to know. So here's how we'll walk through it. First, we'll look at the new directive itself, then dig into the specific problem with an unsubstantiated part number. We'll clarify exactly which engines are affected, lay out the actions you need to take, talk about the operational and safety impact, and then wrap up with a clear call to action. Okay, first things first, the directive. This is Airworthiness Directive CF-2025-66. Mark your calendars because it becomes effective on December 19, 2025. And just to be clear, this isn't a suggestion, it's an absolute mandate. And its authority is rock solid. It's coming directly from Transport Canada's Civil Aviation, issued under Canadian Aviation Regulation 521.427. That makes compliance a legal requirement for maintaining airworthiness, period. So, what's really at the heart of this whole thing? Well, this AD was issued to correct a critical documentation error that involves an unsubstantiated or unapproved part number. And the component we're talking about is the compressor turbine disc, or a CT disc. As you know, this is one of the most critical, life-limited rotating parts in the engine. Its integrity is absolutely non-negotiable for safety. This is where the error crept in. The incorrect part number, that's 3024211, was mistakenly listed in Service Bulletin PT6T-3 and also in Revision 36 of the Illustrated Parts Catalog. And here's the real consequence. While that part, 302421, might physically fit, it has zero published life limits for the PT6T3 model. You know, life limits aren't arbitrary. They're the result of painstaking engineering to prevent catastrophic failure. So operating with this part means you're flying with a total unknown. It's an unvalidated service life, and that's just an unacceptable safety risk. Okay, so let's get specific about who this directive applies to. It's really important to be crystal clear on which engines are covered. And the answer is everyone. This AD applies to all Pratt Whitney Canada PT6T-3 engine models. It doesn't matter what the serial number is, if you're running a PT6T-3, this directive is for you. Right, so we've covered the problem and who it applies to. Now let's shift gears and talk about the solution. What are the specific actions required for compliance? The fix is a clear three-step process. First, you've got to review your technical records. Second, if you find that unsubstantiated part number, you have to replace the CT disc. And third, you are permanently prohibited from ever installing that part number again. Now for the timeline. That first step, the records review, has to be done within 100 hours of airtime, starting from the directive's effective date. Or you have to get it done within 6 months of that effective date. And the key phrase here is whichever occurs first. That puts a firm deadline on the calendar for every single operator. And this is a really important detail straight from the AD itself. A careful review of your technical records is considered an acceptable way to verify. This is good news, right? It means you don't necessarily have to crack open an engine right away just for a physical look. But, and I can't stress this enough, if your records review confirms that part number 3024211 is installed, the directive is absolute. The part must be replaced prior to further flight. Let me say that again, prior to further flight. This is a grounding instruction, plain and simple. So, why all the urgency? Let's quickly break down the operational and safety risks of not complying. Understanding the why here is key to making this a priority. The risks are, frankly, severe. Operating a part with an unknown life limit could lead to an uncontained CT disc failure, and we all know how catastrophic that can be for the engine and the entire aircraft. On top of that, you're looking at a mandatory grounding, which means major service disruptions and a serious violation of airworthiness regulations. Now, the directive does offer a bit of reassurance. As of right now, Transport Canada isn't aware of any cases where this part has actually been installed. So you can think of this AD as a proactive, preventative fix. It's correcting a paper problem before it can become a real-world safety problem. Okay, let's pull all this together and focus on what your team needs to do right now. This really boils down to one simple question that every operator, every planner, every camo manager needs to be asking their team immediately. Have we checked our tech records against this directive? So your final action item is clear.
Make sure everyone on your team, from camo and planning all the way to maintenance, has the official ADCF 2025-66 document. Get coordinated and get that records review done by the deadline. If you have any specific questions, the official Transport Canada contact is right there on your screen. Thanks for your time.